Hey everyone, welcome back to the Coach's Corner here on the NAIA Volley Report, powered by Win One. Today we're joined by head coach Dr. O of the Wiley Wildcats. Coach, thanks for joining me today. How are things out there in the Lone Star State?
Hi, Danny. Everything is going great. I actually just moved here about a year and a half ago from Claremont, Florida. So I'm still kind of getting used to the heat.
Yeah,
But things are really well in the Lone Star State. There's a renewed sense of purpose and pride at Wiley right now. And being a part of HBCU with such a rich legacy, forward momentum makes this season especially meaningful yeah. So I'm excited about that.
no, love to hear it. I'm from Texas, so I understand the heat and starting your car
Oh,
15 minutes to get that AC going. I feel that because it's pretty bad.
what part of Texas are you from?
I'm originally from San Antonio, so
Oh, so that's like 6 hours. That's not too far from where I am. Okay.
yeah, not too bad. And Texas, you can go 6 hours in either direction and still be in Texas. So
That's the crazy part about it, but it's interesting.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't get that, but it's pretty real. But before we start, I do want to say congratulations. I know it's been a little, I think over a month that you've been named that officially the head coach. You took off that tag of the interim role, but how does it feel to move from interim to taking that permanent role?
So first and foremost, Danny, thank you. I am truly grateful. For me, this role is deeply meaningful to me, not just professionally, but actually personally. To lead at a Wiley College, well, Wiley University, no longer Wiley College. It's an institution that's rooted in history, resilience, and excellence. It means I get to serve as a student athletes in a space that understands their lived experiences because I'm a former student athlete. Being named the head coach affirms the work we've started and allows me to fully commit to the long-term vision of the program.
For sure, coach. That's great to hear. But what motivated you to take this full-time position? I know that you have long roots there because you're a professor there. But what made you take on this coaching role?
That's a great question. The thing that motivated me the most was having the opportunity to have a lasting impact on an HBCU that basically prioritizes obviously education first,
Yeah.
leadership and service. As the interim head coach, I was able to gain a lot of understanding for our student athletes, our culture and the responsibility that comes with leading at Wiley. That experience prepared me to be intentional, not just about winning, but about developing women and understanding their purpose and potential.
No, I love that because it's more than volleyball, and at the end of the day, they got to figure out, once they leave and all that stuff, what are they going to carry with them, and what did they learn during their time at Wiley? But, um, you know, in the nicest way, Wiley has had a couple coaching changes, throughout the years. What's your approach to building, continuity and making sure that there's long-term success there at
So the
Wiley?
main, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, no.
So the main thing, Danny, for me, at Wiley, being that it's a HBCU, I think consistency is the biggest thing, right?
Yep.
So being consistent and aligning with the cultural, right? But my approach is to establish standards that reflect Wiley's mission, which is excellence, integrity, and service, so that regardless of the season or foundation remains strong. Long-term success comes from investing in people, honoring the institution's legacy, and building something sustainable for the future generations.
And you yourself have had an impressive journey from, student athlete to professor to now the head coach. How has that shaped your coaching philosophy?
So for me, being a former student athlete, my journey allowed me to coach from a place of understanding and purpose, right? Not everybody comes from being a student athlete to a coach. Some people just come into coaching. But for me, it was a little different. And as a former student athlete, I know the demands, right? I took
Yep.
8 classes at one time. You do work study and having to juggle everything. And then as a professor, I understand the importance of critical thinking, discipline, and accountability. So coaching and teaching at an HBCU is especially meaningful because I can mirror aspects of culture, identity, and experiences that many of our student athletes share. So I think representation really matters, and being able to pour into them, both in the classroom and on the court, is something I take very seriously.
Which is good that you have that experience, in the classroom as well, because you can understand, the thoughts from a
Mhm.
professor and a coach and trying to put them together. Because I know volleyball seasons are long. Granted, they start a little bit before the fall or before the fall semester, but they are long, and athletes being gone for days at a time for trips and stuff like that. So that is good that you have that past experience. But
Yeah.
talk about leadership, discipline, and work ethic as your core values that you have mentioned before. How do you plan to
Mhm.
instill these values in your athletes, both on and off the court?
So, so the main thing, the way the values will be instilled through consistency and example, right? Leading by example. Discipline is reflected in preparation and accountability, right? Got to
Yep.
make sure I hold them accountable. They have to hold me accountable too, as well, right?
Yeah,
And leadership is also cultivated by empowering our athletes to use their voices and lead with confidence. Confidence is a big thing because once you build an athlete's confidence, winning actually takes place after that.
yep,
So, and that also is with the work ethic is rooted in pride, pride in themselves, and pride in Wiley, and pride being a part of HBCU. Legacy that has produced leaders, educators, and change makers for generations. Wiley's a very well-known HBCU, so that's very important.
for sure. And
So
you
I'm
talk,
excited about that.
yeah, I'm excited to see that, Coach. Let's talk about culture. Every team has culture. What kind of culture are you looking to build and create with the program, both on and off the court?
So for me, the culture, I want to build a culture of excellence, resilience, and belonging, right? While their athletes are more than players, they have to understand that they're scholars, they're leaders, they're representations of the university, right? This historic institution. The culture translates into fearless competition on the court and intentional personal growth off the court. So I want our athletes to leave with, confident in who they are and prepared to lead in any space they enter, even after playing sports.
Coaching has a lot of different roles. You got planning, executing all that good stuff. But let's talk a little bit before that. You got recruiting, coach, and athletes
Yeah.
that are tuning in and parents that are watching that, may not have heard of Wiley or interested in playing at the next level. What are some characteristics that you are looking for when you're out on the recruiting trail or when kids reach out to you? What are you looking for?
Mhm. So some of the main things, we recruit student athletes who align with Wiley's mission. Like I said before, those values, education, community, and growth is some of the main factors. We look for character, and you have to be coachable. Like some people aren't
Yeah.
coachable, so that's a key aspect. Doesn't matter how good you are, you have to be able to be coachable, um, to be successful in any program.
Yep.
And you have to have strong work ethic. Talent is important, but so is purpose. So you want to have purpose, and we want our athletes who understand the significance of choosing an HBCU and are excited to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves.
A lot of rich tradition there at Wiley, coach. But once they move on, graduate, get that diploma, what are you hoping that some of these athletes take from being a part of? I mean, I know you haven't started yet, like a full year and stuff
Mhm.
like that, but what are you hoping that they take away once they graduate or move on?
So once they graduate, I really hope that they leave Wiley with confidence. That's the biggest thing: confidence, clarity, and also a strong sense of identity beyond volleyball. I want them to understand their worth, their voice, and their ability to impact the world. Coaching and teaching at HBC allows me to walk alongside them in that journey. So I'm, excited about that. To reflect the culture, inspire belief, and help shape leaders who would carry the Wiley legacy forward long after their playing days are over. So that's my main purpose.
Yeah, what a purpose and what a great message. And I'm looking forward to seeing this upcoming fall. I mean, I know you guys got a spring season coming up, but for the fall, I'm looking forward to it and watching you guys compete in the HBCU Athletic Conference, coach. But before we go, where can we find Wiley, find you on social media and athletics?
So if you log on to Instagram, you can find the Wiley Volleyball on Instagram at Wiley U Volleyball. It's all one word, Wiley U Volleyball. And then if you want to connect with me personally, it's at Dr. with a period underscore my first name, Chinonye, last name Onwuchekwa. I'm Nigerian, so that's why my name is so long.
Oh, I love it.
So that's also my socials as well if you want to connect with me personally.
Perfect, coach. Well, thanks for joining me today. For everybody watching and tuning in, make sure you follow the Volley Report on all things social media, X, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, all that good stuff at NAIA Volley Reports. And make sure you subscribe to this channel to watch coaches on the Coach Corner. Thank you again, coach, and looking forward this next fall.
Thank you so much, Danny, for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.